You ever think about how all of us live in three-dimensional worlds? Not just one, not just this physical plane. And when we all enter this world, we have the ability to see through our imagination, to see through our hearing of ourselves, to hear through seeing inside of ourselves. Well, that's what we're here to talk about and so much more as I show you videos of me creating the epic storyverse experience of Matsu. My name is iPaintCreatures. I'm a poet, I'm a painter, I'm an illustrator, I'm a storyteller, I'm an imaginitarian, and most of all, I am the epic creator of the epic storyverse experience, Matsu. So welcome to the Be Well Forest right here with the funky-eyed puppets, the next generation Muppets, take their adventure into that storyverse called Matsu. So today, I'd really like to just talk to you as a soundtrack, as I'm showing you a lot of the paintings, the inking, and all the little pieces that I'm putting together, weave together in a mythic epic storyverse called Matsu. You see, I create characters and creatures that are on the quest to discovering what all of us have inside. And it's called a story stone. And when it's polished, not dusty and buried under advertisements and this world's illusory information where they tried to tell us to basically, we weren't original. The judgments that came, you're too shy, you're too quiet, you're too much, you're too loud, you're not enough. When in reality, we are enough. And we've just dulled out our senses that tap into the other two dimensions. And how we really activate it is when we polish that story stone, it projects a painted poetic symphony. But a lot of us, even me, I got to a point in my life where I was blinded. I couldn't see with my ears. And I couldn't hear with my eyes. I was not listening to myself. And so in the epic storyverse experience of Matsu, I learned there is a story stone. And when it gets tarnished, buried and dusty, you can't see what's called the second sight. You can't activate your imaginary vision inside yourself, which opens the second dimension that a lot of us have left wayside and it's got buried and dusty. And we've got to a point, some of us, where we just feel lost. And we use all those faculties inside of ourselves. The faculties of creation. The faculties of innovation. And most of all, the faculties of thinking from, healing our own self. On all levels, physical, mental, spiritual, materialized, our relationship with money, our relationship with social networks these days. We forget that we all function inside. We do function out here in the physical world, but we also function inside. And that world is pre-formed. It's where all the great technological innovations from Mr. Steve Jobs, all the way to what I experienced when I worked at Lucasfilm, the incredible technology that was developed, that was led by the second sight of George Lucas, and made all the technical advancements, all following the mythic storyverse dimension. So there's the second dimension, which is the imagination. And in the imagination It's a trance state, a dreamlike state where we dream from. We all live parallel these three worlds. First, the physical world. The second world, imagination and a trance state, dreamlike state. And the third world, vibration. And that's where mythic dimension lives, where we vibrate our own original story. But in this world of interruption and noise, and even corruption of sound and light being used to manipulate and interrupt you instead of allow you to uplift yourself and inspire you, it makes you distracted. It also makes you in a way that you escape. Most entertainment and most media is there to escape and to hide and not heal. And it's all been masking a lot of things that, a lot of us all grew up, including me, on being, kind of masked to my real self and be able to really listen to myself, my own intuition, and my own imagination, my own innovation, my own inner healing of all aspects of this existence. So the second sight, when you polish your story stone, it allows you to see through how you listen to yourself. And that's what incredible creators from the Marvel universe to Star Wars and Star Trek, all the way to Calvin and Hobbes, The Simpsons, all these incredible creators, that's where they find all the magic. They innovated from the imaginative realm. They created inside themselves. They saw all these incredible worlds and stories that are fun and fantastical and whimsical, from Dr. Seuss to Morris Sendak, Where the Wild Things Are, to The Little Prince, to all the Harry Potter, to the Marvel universe once again, and then Lord of the Rings. All took us in these dimensions. But I am the evolution of it. iPaintCreatures is the evolution of it. Because all those tales were told, and they were all about what tarnishes the story stone. Where the epic story verse experience of Matsu is the next kind of, like you would say, I grabbed the baton from all these incredible creators, and refurbished it. Because in the epic story verse experience of Matsu, there is no physical demon or monster or nemesis. It is all based on us taking that pain and that trauma and whatever has came down and tarnished the story stone and reawakening it so it projects a painted poetic symphony. So all of my art is intentionally using an abundance of beautiful color to activate that visual second sight inside yourself. Sound, music, poetry, to activate that musical part of your second sight, to make the sounds move and breathe again. So you have that second sight that fully takes you, and then the story, mythic dimension, which awakens how you can see with your ears. You can listen to yourself and hear your original story unfolding of who you already are. And once again, it's not to make you an artist or inspire you to an artist. It's allowing you to be who you already are. Living the art of divine living, just living your life and having a lot of creative resilience to listen to your intuition. Live in your own vibration and know that that is enough. You're already fulfilled. And you're not separate from the whole experience. You're not downplayed how people, information, and environments have done to all of us on this planet. In the money machine, in the capitalism that interrupts you and manipulates you and says, you are too loud, you're too much, or you're too quiet, too reserved. You have mental issues, where in reality, that's your superpower. It's your unique way of doing it. And when you can activate your second sight, you can tap into those other two dimensions and then unify them in harmony, which already is. And so my art in the epic story verse experience of Matsu is to retune what's already inside you in a fun, entertaining, inspiring way that I facilitate. And I bring it forward by first, how I make all the art I do is in what's called flow. It's my natural desire and my joy, and what I love to do every day is write stories, paint those stories, create characters and creatures in those stories, and work out any of the illusions in my mind of who I am. Because I already got it. I am already perfect. So every drawing I do, every painting I do, every poem and story I do, and then I add motion. Because that allows everyone to embody it. Like light, you don't need to understand the scientific part of it. You don't need to understand even how an artist renders light, on a two-dimensional surface and makes it three-dimensional. And how we even use all these fantastical modern technological tools that came through the George Lucas's mind, who basically followed his story verse, his myth, or in Joseph Campbell's word, followed his bliss into the flow state. And then all these incredible creators at Industrial Light and Magic and Lucasfilm, they all collaborated with that second sight, the same modalities and ways and processes I use to create all this technology that rendered all those mythic dimensions so all of us can experience the motion and embody it. And in the epic story verse experience of Matsu, that's what I do. When I'm writing a story in a poem, there's not a lot of pre-thought. There's not a lot of calculation. And if that does happen, I find myself in that trauma zone where I got to level myself out and chill out and know that I already know what's going on. It's spontaneous. It's fun. Just like this life, it has a lot of just brilliant mystery in it. It's like following those story stones, that projection of the painted poetic symphony, all inside yourself. And you're the conductor. And what my art does is it gives you a tuner, a place where you can just fine tune your inner vibration. And that's the place, remember, where innovation is translated. The third world, we innovate. And we find our intuition. So remember, in the third world, which is the vibratory mythic dimension, that's where stories are born. And when I create a story, I don't know exactly where I'm headed with it. And it starts to just reveal itself. And where the epic story verse experience of Matsu is very unique and extraordinary. It's all about that. Working together in a universal harmony to polish our story stones together and get that mechanism inside it, which is the poetic compass, a GPS, your second sight, the ability to see your world and how you imagine things, and bring that together It's like using the magic of faith. And faith, its real definition is just seeing what's already there. Like all your desires, all that you desire in this world, from the physical to what you imagine, to what your mythic story inside desires, all just revelations that already exist in the unseen. So when you come along with me, iPaintCreatures and IPC, on the epic story verse adventure, just like all the great epics, how some of us have become fanatics of great creations like Star Wars, Star Trek, Harry Potter, Disney creations, Calvin and Hobbes, Simpsons, Ziggy, all the incredible creations, all the way to the incredible musical artists who use performance as embodiment, as motion. It's a living prayer. And those of you that have found an outlet for fun even, and are entertained by it, you've also started to create your own culture through it by seeing how an artist used color, light, sound, and that mythic story dimension that creates culture. Because remember, at the roots of culture is dance and song and paintings and color and even apparel and clothing and the way they present themselves. All the great rock and roll bands, especially even starting with like bands like the Beatles, all the way to some of the most contemporary artists today, like Billie Eilish. They all create mythic dimensions with their stories, total mythic dimensions with their stories. And they use sound, light, color, motion, and the story verse to bring us back to our own, to regain and tune our second sight, sight from the story stone. Sight from the story stone. Story stone represents the harmony of the three dimensions that all of us live in. The physical world, the imagination and the dreamscape world, and the vibratory mythic dimension world. Because in the physical world, we all eat, breathe, walk, and we build. In the imaginary world, we hear our inner bell ringing like that. How that magically happened right there. And how we see our creation, our innovation, and our healing, all preformed. And then the third dimension is the vibratory, the intuitive world, the world of our mythic dimension, our own story. It's where we hear with our sight from the story stone. And we allow ourselves to live in a magical, beautiful existence right here on planet Earth, like poetry. To me, I always say it's the music of language. It's the language of the earth, because I can feel the thunder inside my veins. I can be the wind with my voice that tilts the willow tree into receiving the downpour of the beautiful rhapsody of rain. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. And, support Sight from the Story Stone. Come along. I have all kinds of tiers where you can just get your book. I'm only going to make 500 of them, full glossy. Again, just like Symphony I, which is all ran out. And then other tiers where you can come along and you get original paintings from me, ones that I'll be showing here on the channel. And we're going to go into the next phase now. We're going to start seeing the creation of this epic story verse experience a lot sooner. As I continue my work, and I love working with youth and then the child and everyone, teaching art and and facilitating the way of you expressing, but most of all, shining that story stone. So you get your second sight from the story stone back, and you can live a harmonic existence between your imagination, the vibratory of your own language inside yourself, and the physical realm out here in the world. Peace, blessings, I Paint Creatures, IPC, the funky eye puppets, and the epic story verse experience of Matsu coming soon to you. Sight from the Story Stone, Symphony Book 2, and onward, and telling you all about who you already are. You already got it. So be in full gratitude. Peace.